perhaps we should start off with talking about Hacktoberfest, as that's very topical.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if
can do
you,
that if you'd
Jamie,
like.
would you like to do that?
Yeah, so for anyone that's not familiar with Hacktoberfest, because I know this is supposed to be for newer people, right? Or sort of the tech
Well,
talk.
no, this is for anyone interested
The
in.
tech talk is for anyone who wants
Okay,
to
anyway.
ask tech questions, newts or owls.
So if anyone is new this year, they may not have seen or experienced the last couple Hacktoberfest. So every year for the last 3 years, I think,
Mhm.
during October, um, we kind of have a concentrated effort, or like the developers do, to create some cool things in the apps project. So the first year, we um changed. So originally, what is now tree apps used to just be one view. It was a dynamic tree. So we made it so people can add multiple apps into that one thing. So that was what we did the first year. And then and we also started the WikiTree browser extension that year, because there were 4 or 5 different extensions at the time. So we kind of combined it all into one. And then I think the second year, one of the things that we did was work on the getting it into Safari, which was a
Right.
bit of an effort. And just other improvements to stuff over the past years. And so this year, I think we kind of want to focus on there's three kind of things that we can focus on this year. Number one, we're probably going to have a new function for the API. So apps developers can use something called the WikiTree API, which um, allows programmers to use data from WikiTree in their own sort of program. Um, so I've been testing it the past few days. It's a new function for the API that will allow you to get the path between any two profiles. So for the connection finder. So there might be some cool things that apps developers can do with that during Hacktoberfest. I don't know if it's gonna be ready by Tuesday, but pretty soon after that. And like I still have to write documentation for it. So there's that. The other thing that people might want to work on is I'm cleaning up the family calendar app, because there's a couple requests that have been made to improve that, and then that will replace what is now the anniversaries page on WikiTree. So we'll just link directly to that family calendar app. And then the other thing that Rob can talk about more later is that he has gathered a huge list. I think is over 50 different sites that people want added to Sourcer. And so if so people can take one of those and try to add that to Sourcer. Um, so those, I think, are the three things that we might focus on this year. So if you have any sort of programming experience, most of the stuff that we do is in JavaScript, but even if you don't know JavaScript, if you have programming experience, you might be able to help out. There's 2 tutorials. And there's one for the tree apps. There's one for the WikiTree browser extension. I don't know if there's going to be too much to do on that this year. Ian pretty much makes features as soon as someone requests them. And I think Rob has some documentation for contributing to Sourcer.
He does.
Yeah, I can show that.
If you're interested in participating as a programmer, I can. Rob has the or Greg, whoever's screen sharing, has the help page up, and I'll also put the link in the chat. So yeah, that starts on October 1st and goes all month. You can join whenever. You can, and so and then every Thursday, I think.
Thursday 1, yes.
Yes, at 1 Eastern. Greg and I will be doing kind of a recap of what's been going on each week. So,
Now, Kay has her hand up. She wants to make a.
oh
Yeah.
yes.
One thing I noticed when Jamie tasked me with going through and updating the help on doing a tree app, which is fun because I haven't done a tree app, I noticed that each tree app can have help and each tree app should have help. So we need a Murray for the tree apps. People can
Yes.
go in and
Yes, if
volunteer
anyone
to
is-
learn all about a tree app and write the help page for it and work with the developer when they have questions.
Yes, documentation is also pretty important. So yeah, if anyone is experienced in writing documentation or is interested in that, we could also use help with that. And then if anyone's super great at testing, we always need testers as well. So there's multiple ways you can help out.
Okay, so on to follow on from that, the WikiTree Sourcer, if you'd like to contribute to that, there's a GitHub page for WikiTree Sourcer, which I'm showing here. And this shows all the issues that are open for Sourcer. And they have a lot of labels on them. So you can show there's like 99 issues currently on Sourcer. If you click on Add New Site, there's currently 62 requests for sites. And then I've gone through and marked some of them with the Hacktoberfest label, ones that seem suitable for people to pick up for Hacktoberfest. And that narrows it down to 32 issues. So then you can go, if you're interested in contributing, some of them have the in progress label to show someone's already working on those. But then you can click on one and see if there's any comments. Some of them haven't been investigated at all. Some of them I've done some, like this one I think I was looking at earlier. And not all of them are really easy to implement Sourcer for. Sometimes they're just like archives. They don't really have, they're not like records about a person. So you can only do more simplified citation building for those. And then documentation wise, well, if you look at the code page for WikiTree Sourcer on GitHub, there's this README file, which is the first thing that comes up. And so I've been updating this. I put in some notes for Hacktoberfest here, and development environment. There's documentation on how to set up your development environment, how to add support for a new site, etc. So if anyone's interested, you can read up on that. You can let me know, and if you have questions, like Discord's probably the easiest place to ask me questions. Okay, so anything else on Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, just you reminded me about Discord. I will be moving the Hacktoberfest Discord channel up near the top again. Right now it's kind of down by the app stuff. So if you guys have any questions about it, or just want to chat about Hacktoberfest stuff, I think most of us will be in there. So.
Okay. Perhaps we should move on to WB features. It sounds like there's a couple we could demo. There's one called the feed helper and one called the watchlist filter.
Okay, if I go to my watch list, you'll see that it has watch list filters, which is an option that comes with the new version. And you have to show all. So you click show all, and it goes out and gets the profiles on your watch list. And now you can filter. So you can see just the profiles that you manage, just the profiles that you don't manage. Steve said that there's a glitch in core, which is why my own profile that I'm managing shows up as non-managed.
Interesting.
And sort by male. Let's go back to all. Or female. No gender. Oh,
Yeah, it's
They're
not an
checked
or,
off.
don't have
it's
any
not an or
without a gender.
situation.
Okay. I can do by, I don't have anything oh. Jean's still locked down. She just passed away in
Oh,
July.
sorry about that.
She was 101.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something to celebrate then. Yes.
And her
That's great.
daughter wanted all 9 of her siblings in WikiTree so she could do a sampler from the dates. But
Oh.
you can see the content rank, so I can filter and just look if I got anybody who's a 4
Mm-hmm.
or a 5, if I want to look and see what or 6, 7. So anyway, somebody was asking on G2G, how can I see just the profiles that I manage? Or
Mm-hmm.
how can I see just the profiles? I know you can see the ones you don't manage with biocheck. So
Mm-hmm.
Steve added this. I think it's really neat.
Steve Harris, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing is on contributions,
Mm-hmm.
there's a feed helper
Mm.
and it gives you this button. So when you click that button, mine's not real interesting because I haven't been doing a lot of profiles. You can do a full check or just do a biocheck and everything and look for anomalies. Anomalies would be you change the gender. That's probably going to be an anomaly. If I do a full check, okay, it didn't find any anomalies and it didn't find any um, rapid activity. But you can go down and you can see that I saw a pre-1700 profile that didn't have a source. I tagged it as unsourced, so you can see that shows up because it's got the unsourced tag on it. So anything that's shown up red
Red.
is not making its way through biocheck without biocheck being unhappy about something. It might be style, it might be source. Greg, can I show your
Sure.
contribution?
Sure. I was going to say when you were looking at the watch list filter earlier, what a
Yeah,
show off. Yeah, I clicked 0 to 3 and I had a bunch that showed up there in that category. And you had to go up to what, 5 or 6 before you got any that were the content ranking was low.
yeah.
Before you do that, could you show me how you got to the watch list? Because I never can just go to the watch list. I've got to sort of happen upon it somehow.
Okay.
Hey, it's
Greg,
11007.
are you 10,007
11 11007
11
11. Yeah.
007?
Yeah.
You're 11007.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's Greg.
Okay.
On my WikiTree, there's a link to your watch list.
Yeah. I think they've made it a lot easier now. I don't know if it was always on the My WikiTree thing before, but
For some reason, I
That's the
just
same.
look for it and can't see it. So I sometimes think I'm blind.
That's the same place that you will find your suggestions, and those are the suggestions for the profiles that you manage,
Okay, that's good to know.
as opposed to the suggestions you would find here, which are the suggestions for profiles that are related to Greg.
related. Yeah.
And if you happen to have WBE installed and the access keys installed,
Yeah.
you can just press the key W followed by W, and it'll jump to your watch list.
That's too advanced for me yet.
So on the feed on Greg, you can see that he was quick.
Uh-oh. Rapid activity.
Yes.
I'm
In
usually
other
not.
words, you did stuff enough things within a 5-minute time frame for it to say, "Hey, what you been doing?" And you can actually go
What was I doing?
look at them. So you did these fairly quickly.
Wow. I gotta look at that one.
Um,
Wow.
Now, if you want to, you can whitelist. So I can add
Oh,
somebody and say, "Oh, I don't want to watch rapid activity on Greg. I know what I'm doing." And you can clear data to clear what it's already done. Let me do a full check.
Mm-mm.
So full check just ran all these, everything that Greg did. He's been working on free space pages quite a bit
Yeah.
through biocheck and to show rapid activity in biocheck. So we've got Therese. So Therese, if we look at her, you can see why she came out with biocheck.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's a, hey, Source-a-Thon's coming up. Um,
Oh, yes. I was completing a yes.
so
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
that's the feed helper and the watch list. Does somebody else want to share their screen? And I will unshare after they share.
How did you get the extra buttons and things on your watch list?
How did I what?
On the watch list page that you showed,
The option, yeah. Show her how you
the
in
options.
WikiTree browser extension, how you add the options.
Oh, how I get the options? Okay. Mine might look a little weird because
Would you rather me do that?
no, because I got the version that I was helping test the feed.
Oh, you.
Yeah,
But,
I understand. I understand
you
that.
know, if I go here,
Yeah,
man, it stopped popping up there.
yeah. It's because your service work is inactive, is it?
I want to manage it.
I
Come
can
on.
demo it on mine if
Details.
you want.
Details. I got it. I got it. I got it. It's down here. Um, when you're in the extensions and you want to find a feature,
You just
you can search.
Oh, cool.
And so the watch list filter is down at the bottom,
Thank you.
Oh,
on or
Thank
off.
you.
okay.
the feed filter that you were just doing.
Is other.
And it's called the feed helper, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, this is my copy of the browser extension that might or might not be in sync with the preview version.
You're one behind, Kay.
Well, it was ahead of the preview version. I was testing some, we found a little glitch. I think Ian got that fixed. So
Yeah. Now you don't have to load all your watch list, and it turns out that some watch lists are quite long. Like um, Steve was commenting that he had one that was 18K.
Ooh.
Yeah. So trying to load all of that was just too much. So he changed it so it'll do 500 at a time. And if you want, then you can press the button to load them all.
yeah,
Right.
there's a little fix in WBE coming out for AutoBio was blitzing some stuff. And that's why I've got a version of WBE. I was helping Ian trying to find it, debug it.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. If
Yeah.
you,
We see it. Thanks, Rob. Mhm.
so one thing that Ian mentioned is that there's always been a standalone version of AutoBio, but it wasn't very accessible before, and it's now on the main apps page,
Oh, nice.
which you find if you go to the find menu on any WikiTree page, there's an apps, and that takes you to this page. And this is where it shows all the different apps on the app server. I think it also has the extensions here as well. So if you're trying to find any of the add-ons for WikiTree, this is the place to go.
Mhm.
And this AutoBio is just it's exactly the same AutoBio that's in the WBE. It's just if people who don't have the WBE extension, if they want to use AutoBio, you can do it through this app.
Just beware, it's one of the things that Ian and I were looking at is if you've got a fairly complete biography with lots of inline sources and lots of text written in the biography, you might not want to use autobio because you might lose a whole bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it says it in the help. It's just user beware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get these tools, but use the tools when they're appropriate.
that happened to me because I was a notables and I put a beautiful headline for the notables and also I added the siblings and I clicked auto bio and completely wiped out all my stuff that I had extra.
Mm. But you could go back to the history, right? And revert
Yeah,
to
yeah. Then then I went back and I added everything else. So that was okay.
yeah. Now, with the auto bio, isn't there an option now to choose aspects of it? Like to just do just family lists, or is that in the Sourcer app that I'm thinking of?
Well, there are some options in AutoBio.
Hmm.
See.
I think possibly that Ian has pulled some of the features, some of the capabilities out as a separate feature, but I'd have to look and see.
So this is the AutoBio option there.
Mhm.
So there's a show options. So there's a bunch of different things you can do about
Mhm.
how it formats things.
Right.
And then you can tell it whether or not to do the stuff it does for adding categories and things and other details to include, whether to include family lists, so on. But
Mhm.
there is also an auto categories, I think,
Mhm.
which is separate. So if you're on like if I go to a thing here, I guess auto buy, you use it by going into edit mode. I don't really use AutoBio, but I think it's here. So there's AutoBio, but there's also let me look at where it is. There's a here. I thought there was an auto categories, but I'm not seeing it myself. Maybe I haven't got that turned on.
Yeah, there is one. You just don't have it in your list.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's not turned on in the options here. Uh,
Oh, you know what I was thinking? So I
categories.
just went in to edit my own profile to see what what I was thinking of was when you're in edit mode and the biography button, there's options to do just the sibling list, for example.
Hmm.
Oh, there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
auto categories is a separate feature, and you
yeah.
have to enable it in order for it to show up under categories.
But
Yeah.
speaking of that separate apps page, that's also where you can go to find biocheck because he's a separate app.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just turned on auto categories and it's showing up there now under categories.
And if you go to the one next door, the biography button, that's the one where along with the auto bio, it can automatically generate a sibling list or birth and parent details,
Hmm.
those things,
Yeah.
which
Now,
are
and
often
yes,
part of the auto bio. But if you just needed that little portion of it redone.
in yesterday's new user Q&A,
Hmm.
Stephen raised the point
Hmm.
that AutoBio was using Find a Grave for birth information, and Stephen didn't like that idea, and I understand that there are a lot of people on WikiTree who don't like that idea. So I
Hmm.
just thought I'd mention it, and maybe Ian will hear this and respond to that.
Okay.
Well, I guess if there's a better source, you would preference an actual birth record or baptismal record over a find a grave, right?
Sure, but I think maybe some people might want to have the option to not allow you to use Find a
And
Grave.
not allow you to use it at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people, but
Well, yeah. In the absence of nothing, it's
Well, I
better
guess
than.
if you're running auto buy on a profile that has a find a grave source, I guess the question would be, do you want to have an inline reference to that from the birth or not? And but
Oh.
people would probably say no. Because AutoBio will automatically insert inline references to non-in sources that were non-inline, I think.
yeah.
Right.
It's one of those cases where the user has to be a little responsible.
Mhm.
Because I've seen
Mhm.
lots of graves where there's this gravestone and
Mhm.
it's got their age or their birth date engraved on it, especially for a child that died young,
Right.
was
Mhm.
18 months old. And that's probably the best source you're going to get for some of those in an area where there are not town or church records.
Right.
So
Okay, so moving on. Um, the Source-a-Thon is coming up this coming weekend, I believe. So I've tried to not be making any changes to the WikiTree Sourcer this week because I want to make sure I don't break anything for the Source-a-Thon. Um, I was thinking I could talk about tips for using WikiTree Sourcer for the Source-a-Thon, but nothing really came to mind as it's just the same as using WikiTree Sourcer for anything else, really. But I mean, typically, I can talk about it a bit, I guess. Typically, for the Source-a-Thon, you're going to be looking for like unsourced reports in WikiTree Plus, and then going to this is the first one that comes up for Somerset. And then, so this is has no sources. It's correctly flagged as unsourced. Um, so for you click on the first step for me would be click on the WikiTree Sourcer icon and see if I can find any sources for this person. And it's going to try and use by default. Say I search Ancestry, it's going to use all the available information like a name, date and place of birth, date and place of death if known, and the name of the father and the mother, which worked quite nicely on this one because I searched for Ancestry and it came up with all these records about Hannah Dement. At first, I was thinking that's strange because the profile actually says Boodler, but her profile is actually wrong. Her last name at birth was actually Dement. So in that case, it's fortunate that the search put in her father's name. Otherwise, those wouldn't have come up. But her brother was born before her and is called Dement. Her other younger brother was born after her, is called Dement. I don't know why this profile has
It's her mother's maiden name, it looks like.
yeah. I don't know why this profile got created with the mother's maiden name.
Well, we could
Uh,
guess.
What would your guess be, Murray?
Well, the mailman.
well,
Mhm.
well, he was baptized with her father's name. So I don't know why that one got created. But so typically, so if we wanted to add a source for this person, obviously we'd research that this is correct and that actually she should be Hannah Dement, but then we can create a narrative with the citation for this profile. And obviously on this, you'd need a bit of more work to, if it needs the last name at birth changed, you do that. But then you can just add some sources. If you're a typical person in the Source-a-Thon trying to get points, you would just add one source and move on.
Right.
So, anyone have anything else to say about the Source-a-Thon? So we have Greg's demo of the DNA organizer. We could move on to that.
Anne has asked a question about the app login. She said, why do we need to sign in to an app login? So the API, the WikiTree API is technically, it uses a different database and it's on a different server than WikiTree. Because so any change that happens to the regular WikiTree site, we have to it goes through a bunch of testing and we have to make sure that we're not having any privacy leaks and we're not breaking everything. Although sometimes I don't test well enough and stuff does break anyway. But so we have the app server or the app server and the API on a separate server.
Yeah.
So that way that the developers can experiment and try out new things without risking breaking actual WikiTree.
Mhm.
So because it's on a different server, that's why there's a separate login for that. We
Right.
kind of did a hacky thing for tree apps where
Mhm.
it logs you in automatically, but for like the browser extension and any
Oh,
standalone
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
apps, those are
Yeah.
all
No, I know. No, my question was that every 10 minutes I have to put in app to login every time
Oh, okay. So that's the same issue that Greg's having.
yeah, yeah.
I'm having
Yeah.
I'm having it too, Jamie.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it is
that's
definitely a
me.
widespread problem.
Pain in
So
the
I'll have
butt.
to poke Brian and be like, hey, there really is a problem. We should figure it out.
Yeah. So Chris from Australia does have a question for us, and I will turn it over to you because I promise I won't talk for another hour uncharacteristically. I'll be short. I'll try to be short. So this is just a teaser of an app it's really at the alpha stage. It's not quite polished yet enough to ask for beta testers, though it's getting pretty close. Um, and at the recent genealogy conference, the East Coast Genetic Genealogy Conference, in fact, Megs did a presentation on using this app and the method in behind it, which I have developed. So it's a collaboration. It's Megs' idea, and I'm implementing it into an app form and adding some things she hadn't thought of. And it's a cool thing. So the idea is basically it's a way of organizing your DNA, and especially if you're trying to um, look at a really good use for it is if you're doing a study for everyone on your patrilineal line, your Y-DNA connections, or your matrilineal line, your mitochondrial, or a specific subset of DNA matches that all come from the same cluster of shared ancestors, something like that. Uh, it's not something you'd put every one of your DNA matches in because it would just overload and you'd just have spaghetti on the screen and it wouldn't make any sense. But um, we've used it. We've got some test cases in here, and some of them look good and some of them look bad. And I haven't actually gone into my Douglas side in a while, so let's just see what that looks like. Um, so when I open it up, then there's some interesting things about it. So you can put quick links to your family tree DNA project page if you belong to a page right about the Douglas family, which I do have. Or you could add special links for that. This special link I think I've got going to my Douglas ancestor, the one that Patty did a lot of research for. So thank you, Patty, for doing that. Um, and that's a connection there. Um, and so in this particular one, I've been working on another one of the project files that Mags has done a lot more work on. But this one here, there's 6 DNA testers. Um, some are fictitious, so I just could test some things out. 9 shared ancestors, which is a little excessive. And then I've created just 7 matches between them. And when you look at the matches, this is sort of basically the minimum matrix. So it's a small little group there. And you can view, there's a number of different views, the typical pedigree view, which you could actually show the full names and even with dates if you want, sort of thing. Or you could see the link of a specific person, a specific tester, in this case, my link from me to all the shared ancestors that I share there. And I have this nice little thing here that shows all the connections from all the shared ancestors that I have in this matrix to all the testers. And you can see that I was playing around because I've got myself, Mags, and Chris Ferriolo on the same screen, and there's really no connection between Chris and Mags, or Mags and I. Actually, Mags and I, our connection is like way back, like the 12th century or something like that. But Chris and I actually do share an ancestor in common. So if I looked at Francois and started at him, for those of you who know Chris Ferriolo, you can see how we're both descended from the same person, which is kind of cool. And I'm descended twice from him. through two different great grandparents. But the whole purpose of this, the reason for being the raison d'etre actually is the final button. So after you've added your ancestors, you added your testers and whatnot, and you've added the matches, then what happens is when you put it all together, this kind of magic happens, which may not look so magical to you, but basically it shows you, it draws your ancestors again, and we can rearrange these ancestors so that they're a little less chaotic. So maybe I want to put Francois over on the far side here. Let's put Francois way over here. And so and then I'm going to put my Douglas's, let's move that over. There we go. That's a little less chaotic. So here are basically the 6 testers, and you can see the connections between each of them. So I'm connected to Chris. Theoretically, we share 57 centimorgans, 312 centimorgans with Fred, and then 42 centimorgans with Velma, 23 centimorgans with Mags, and I have no connection with Mark right now. This method, this whole organizer, is based on something called the McGuire method. And so there was a genealogist called McGuire, and I should know what it is. I want to say Mark McGuire, but that's the name of a teacher I taught with my first year teaching, so I don't think it's the same person. So I apologize for not knowing the full name of the McGuire whose method it is, but it's the McGuire method that Megs has used and then adapted to add some of this extra stuff. And so that's basically it. So I'm still working on getting some of the niceties of the user interface working, the connections and making it look a little less like spaghetti is something else I'm working on. One of the options I have in a number of the screens is to change it from the testers being at the bottom to the testers being at the top. And I thought it was a very cool, intuitive, for me, let me zoom in here so you can see this radio button. So if the testers are at the top, then it's like a capital T with the T at the top. Or if the testers are on the bottom, then the T is upside down. I thought that was clever. I had to explain it to Megs the first time. And then as soon as I explained it, she said, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. That was me trying to be clever. And again, if you put your testers at the top, you can reorder them as well if you wish.
Greg, Peggy has a question for you.
Okay, Peggy, what's your question?
Well, I guess one part of it is already answered because this diagram comes from your app. It's not like in Family Tree DNA or something.
That's great.
But
yeah.
You took your testers from Family Tree DNA, then you did all of the finding where you had your common ancestors. You did all of that work, like what Family Tree DNA shows you from your MyHeritage trees and WikiTree and doing all the research yourself to try to figure out where your common ancestors were, right? That took a lot of work of yourself on your own, that you had to then feed that information into your tool somehow.
So
into
yes
this
and
app?
no. So what I had to put in was the DNA information. So if I pick myself, right, and I say, well, I've done some ancestry tests. Here are all the other testers, and I put in the amount of what I shared with each of those people. Now, some of these are true amounts and some of them are fake because I'm just testing it right now. But what I didn't have to do is if the two testers were actually both on WikiTree, the app itself will know how to find the common connection. And right now it does that through a series of iterations. But once the API that Jamie talked about at the beginning of this Zoom session, once that's all live and I can use that, then it'll be much quicker and easier. But so finding the shared ancestor will happen automatically if the two testers are already on WikiTree.
But your testers would have had to be in WikiTree, or if the testers aren't in WikiTree, you would have had to build profiles for all the testers that have your common like that are in your haplogroup, right?
Right. Now, there is one thing you can do. So if I go to, let me just go to my testers here. And let's see if I go to, I think these people are, oh, Frederick is not in WikiTree right now currently. So if I
I'm
hit,
thinking about like if I have the list of my matches for my in my mtDNA list,
right.
and I want to try to use this to try to help me figure
Yeah.
out what are our common ancestors. I would, if they're not already in WikiTree, I would have to somehow build profiles for them.
You may. Now, what I've added, so if you look at this page here, actually, you know what? Let me just add one new tester. I'll say not on WikiTree. Tommy tester. Tester. Um, say male, and I'll just grab it there. And I'm going to leave those out for now, just add that. So if I go to Tommy Tester now, and I edit, when I come down to here, there's his pedigree. Because he's not on WikiTree, there's no WikiTree profile ID for him. But as long as you know one of his ancestors that's in the right line, so say I know that his great grandfather at some point is one of my Douglas. I can put in that Douglas. Let me just put 366 in there. And then I can connect him. And so it'll automatically, in between the Richard Douglas that I identified and Tommy, it just puts private individuals. So you don't have to create profiles for them. If this profile already exists on WikiTree, then all of a sudden now, even though Tommy's not on WikiTree, he's connected to the larger web. And if I go to this, I should see Tommy. I should see Tommy. I might need to reload. That's one of the things I have to do. It doesn't always update in real time. Let me just, where's Tommy? Come on, Tommy. Oh, there he is. There's Tommy Tester right there. He was a little higher in the list than I was expecting.
Greg, let me interrupt for a second.
Sure.
It's Peggy. I had somebody contact me on GEDmatch, and we talked about her tree and my tree, and who, between talking with her, identified a common ancestor, but she wasn't on WikiTree. But she had a tree on Ancestry, and we talked back and forth. And I pretty much used the sorcerer with looking at stuff and was able to build out her tree on WikiTree in like a day, maybe two.
And that's, I think you would just have to identify one of their oldest known ancestors that you could identify.
Yeah. And she was fine with me adding her, it was parents or grandparents. And so I was able to just get that part of the tree in there anyway. But using Sorcerer, it only took me like a day to do it, maybe 2 days. I do type fast though.
It would a part of their tree that connect has their, like for me, for their matrilineal line in it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Interesting. I just made my very first connection to my matrilineal test, mtDNA on family tree just a month ago. In fact, one of those profiles that Kay found that was empty was one of the ones that I had added to make that connection. So it was very cool being able to do that. But those are, of course, the most challenging because the last name changes every single generation as you go back.
Yeah, and my matrilineal line, I can go from me, and then I hit a brick wall. But what I'm seeing on family tree DNA has pretty solid. There's a gap of 2 generations, and I can't figure out how to connect that gap from.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of information back farther, but I can't connect myself to all the information I see in family tree DNA.
So this is just a teaser of what the app will do. It's got lots of power. It needs some work now, to some polishing so that it's a little more user-friendly. And I need to tweak some things where the display is missing a few things or whatever. But I will be looking for beta testers throughout Hacktoberfest. So if you're interested in that, then let me know. Murray, you have a question. I see.
Well, Greg, I just wanted to say that interface where you choose your
Yes.
ancestor and
Yes.
put in there, I hope, first of all, I think that's way more clever than the T and the upside down T.
Oh,
That's way more clever. And the
okay.
second thing about that is I hope that you're going to transition that into your DNA confirmation maker.
Oh, yes, that
That
would
would
be.
be very handy there.
I hadn't thought of that, but that is a brilliant idea. Yeah, because that would be an easier thing than the current one where you have to. Yeah. Okay. Let me write that down. Which means I have to get back to that one too.
Well, in the fullness of time.
In the fullness of time, yeah. I am looking after our grandson full time during the school day, which is a lot more work than well, yeah, it's a bit of work.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we move on? We had a question from Chris in Australia.
Okay, yes. Are you going to share your screen, or do you want me to share and try and answer? What would you like?
I can share my screen.
Okay, Chris, you go ahead.
Because yeah, I have some stuff that I've sort of drawn up that I wanted to talk about. So
Perfect.
I was working on a challenge in August to fix up abbreviations. So I was going through, and as you can see, pretty rapidly, one every couple of minutes. But simple, simple things like NSW for our state to New South Wales, QLD to Queensland, those sort of things. And it was going pretty fast. But something really wacko happened. And you see that some of these lines say I edited the last name. Now, or nicknames, etc. I did not. I did not add anything. I was merely going into the places and putting in, changing it to the full terms. So if I go to one of these, say this Robert Orton Byrne, and here's his profile, and it says this is the first day. This is where I fixed up what happened, but it says what I did. So the change details, if you can have a look, I changed NSW to New South Wales, I changed QLD to Queensland, but it added in this wacko stuff. Where the heck did that come from?
Mr. Byrne.
And it happened numerous times. I didn't realize it was happening at first. And when I eventually recognized what was going on, I stopped, I started being really careful if anything extra was going into the input form. But I've got 4 pages of these screen captures where I've got to go back and fix up what
It
happened.
sounds
Now,
it sounds
I
like
did.
your browser is auto-filling things. My guess would be
Okay.
it's not an issue with WikiTree, but it's like if you have your browser set up to automatically fill in name fields and things, it might be like just saying prefix all, but that would just yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I did talk to the team leader at the time, once I realized what was going on, and she mentioned that something similarly weird had been happening with her entries, and she wondered if there might have been someone trying to, do some sort of hack in or something. But maybe you're right there, Rob. Might have been that. I might have to try and use a different browser that doesn't have the autofill turned on when I'm doing those sorts of things in future.
Well,
But
like,
maybe it was also something to be a warning for people, because I didn't even see that was happening because I was just concentrating on the fields that I was physically altering. And yeah.
yeah, if you, I don't know if this is what you were doing, but like a lot of times if you click in a field, like sometimes your browser will like show you things you've already typed in. And if you click on that, a lot of times it will fill in other fields with stuff you've filled in before. And that's how that.
Yes, that may be. That makes more sense than someone trying to hack into the system. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
because
think
I
there's a way to erase the ones you don't want, but it depends on your browser and what sort of device you're on.
Yeah.
yeah, I was just using my laptop and just using Edge as the browser. So, but certainly I will now that I'm aware and alert to it, be doing something different in the future because I've got a lot of tidy up to go back and fix.
Right.
Sadly, she suggested that I go back and revert all the ones that I did and then just redo the places again later. But some of them have been modified by other people since then too. So, yeah. Okay, thank you. That's really it, and that helps me.
Yeah, more on that. Like, I think there's probably an option in the browser to turn off autofill, but I don't know if there would be a way to turn it off just for WikiTree, for example. I haven't really dug into that.
Yeah, no, I figure if I'll set up a separate, I'll use Brave or something and just use that for when I'm doing these sorts of challenges where I'm sort of going fast and not, I'm just focusing on particular fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thanks
Hey,
to Amanda. I was going to say thanks to Amanda. It is Lauren McGuire who developed the McGuire method. I just put a link to an article from the genetic genealogist blog that talks about that. Kay, you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, it happened to me as well. So I don't know if there's been a recent browser update that changed some behavior and stuff. And I think it's happened both on Chrome and Firefox. So kind of weird, kind of weird.
I don't know if there's anything that can be done on the WikiTree website. If there's anything in HTML where you can say this field can be auto-filled or this field can't be auto-filled.
We can, I think, but I know some people like having autofill on certain fields, like
Yeah.
especially location ones. Um, but yeah, maybe we can turn it off on
I know.
like some other things.
It was
So
weird that it didn't happen every single entry that I was doing. It was like that it'll happen to one and then there'll be a couple and then it'll happen to the next one. So yeah, it's but I think if I just use a browser where I completely turn off the autofill, I'll be a lot happier there.
right, yeah.
I think there might have been a browser update that changed the behavior because it's doing it to me when I go to Family Search to try and search too.
Yeah,
It's trying to,
could
or
be.
when I go to Ancestry to try and search, it's trying to fill in my name and address. It's like, no.
To edit those pop-up lists on my Chrome browser, at least one version of it, I haven't had to do it in a while, but if I right click when the pop-up list came with 5 options that if I right clicked on the one I wanted to get rid of, half the time it gave me the option to remove that from the list, and the other half the time it filled it in instead of removing it. Put the offending one in the field, which was the exact opposite of what I wanted. So, but there was a mechanism that kind of worked.
Okay, so did anyone else have any questions? Any technical questions?
Got a nice group here today. That's nice.
I'm just looking through the chat to see if there are any other questions that we haven't answered. So I think Source-a-Thon starts on Friday.
Friday morning. We have Ask Alesh on Thursday morning at 9. And then the Hacktoberfest first week is Thursday at 1 p.m. Yeah.
Okay,
And in
so
between there, I have to play a math at church.
so this coming Thursday at 1 p.m. there'll be a kind of kickoff
Yeah.
for Hacktober.
Yeah.
Yep, I think I'll explain a bit about what Hacktoberfest is, and depending on who else is there, I might go through one of the tutorials. Or
Nice.
Rob, if you're showing up, maybe, then you
Mhm.
might be able to go through your documentation maybe? Because there seem to be quite a lot of people that are interested in contributing to Sourcer this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been in touch with a few, so there's at least 4 people who have uh, gone through the how to set up a new site and so on.
Right.
Yeah, I plan on contributing at least one new one.
Nice.
It's funny how, I've added, I can't remember how many sites are in there already, maybe about 30 or so. But every one you add, there's always a new wrinkle, like this one, like well, some of them you can search with the URL, query, but some you can't. So there's that difference. And then some of them, there's an actual record page you can put a link to in the citation, but other ones you just get a list of search results. So you have to add some code in Sourcer to be able to select one of the search results and quote that. Some of them don't have records with names in, they're just kind of like a page in an archive somewhere. So it's yeah, I thought by now I've handled so many special cases that everyone that comes along there wouldn't be a new case, but
Right.
there often is.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone was adding a record support for I forget which site now, but there were gravestones, but each page had like every person who was listed on the grave. So if you
Mhm.
want to create a citation, it's like there's 5 people on this page that you might want to create the citation for. So that's one that Real's been working on. So we came up with a solution for that.
Mm. So the custom Sourcer version that I gave to Patty for his TNG site,
Yeah.
have you thought any more about a way of generalizing that?
Well, that's a hard one. Well,
is.
I looked at it for a while, but I looked at it briefly. And it looked like everybody. It's a software that lets you create your own website. So
Right.
the website is not for every different tree, it has a completely different URL. So
Right.
you basically so the way web browser extensions work is that you have to list all the URLs well, mostly you do. So the way Sourcer works, you'd have to create a new version of Sourcer for every person who wanted to add their tree.
Mhm.
I mean, you can create an extension that just says star.star for what
Mhm.
what websites it can work on, but they're much more of a security risk because you could go to your bank page and the extension
Right.
will be able to read everything on your bank page. So they probably get a lot more those kind of extensions probably get a lot more scrutiny from for reviewing and things like that. And so
Right.
I'd rather not go down that path.
It looks like Lorraine has a question.
Yes, I do. It's about the Sourcer. And I used it a couple of times. It worked, and then I was busy doing other things, didn't go back to it. And then I couldn't get it to work the same way. So is there is there a nice, easy sort of ABC or 1, 2, 3, 4 for using the Sourcer to make sure that you don't mess it up? Because I've found that it's fine getting the information, say from Ancestry, but when I go back to put it into WikiTree, something happens in between there, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. But um, doesn't go in the way I want it to.
Right. So it sounds like it's formatting the citations differently.
Yeah, it's to get it to format and how to do that without messing up every time. I need a really simple method that I can go to each time because I have so many things I'm doing that I don't get a chance to do sort of enough times in a row to make it feel like
Yeah.
it's comfortable.
Well, the way Sourcer works, I'll bring up the options here. So on the Sourcer menu, there's an options thing, and there's hundreds of different options. So you can format the citations in many different ways. Uh, so this this is this is the general citation settings, and then for say Ancestry, there's some options to how to format the citation. So there isn't any one way to do it. It's designed so people can use the style that they want. There is a way So if you're using Chrome on one computer and then you go to a different computer and use Chrome, it should automatically get your option settings across computers, but that doesn't work across like Firefox versus Chrome, for example. There is a way to save your options in case you want to share, copy it across to a different browser, or in case you're worried about messing up. So you can go click this. This is called the burger menu, these three lines. And there's an option to export all your options or import them or reset them to the defaults. So if it seems like it's messed up to you, you could just do reset to defaults, or you could like export it to a file first, just in case. Reset to defaults, and then if it looks more like what you want, you could just stick with that. Does that help, Lorraine?
Yes, so what you're doing is going in and looking at the citation assistant and then edit the citation to get it to fit what you want it to say. Is that correct?
It's not the citation assistant, actually. Like if I go to this WikiTree profile, just for example, it's this option here, options.
Oh, okay.
And that's what takes you to this page, which has all of the options for WikiTree Sourcer.
And then I go to citation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's what I'm not doing. I'm not doing the options and that. So I can check that out and hopefully it starts to make better.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So
Thank you.
there's a lot of different options, and then you can control whether you want new carriage returns in between lines and things like that, or whether you can make some of these options are more like some of them say EE style, which is more like the evidence explained style, which personally I prefer some of the other ones just because the evidence explained is more designed for print than
Just because sometimes I've downloaded it too, and then they always are correcting it for periods and commas and parentheses and all kinds of things. So somehow it is not, they don't do that a lot, but it does happen. And I think there's something I'm doing in the download. So I will try this and see if I have no more corrections. That would be great.
So you mean it's generating suggestions? Or?
Well, it's generating. So, when you go in and correct periods and commas and all that stuff, well, it's happening on it.
I don't really know what you mean. You go in and correct commas and things.
So every once in a while I get a notice that something's been corrected on my source, on my person. And it's always something small, like a comma or a semicolon or something. So somehow when I've downloaded, I've changed something in the citation.
Yeah, so I mean the way Sourcer works, so you're on a page like this on Ancestry.
Yeah.
You say build a narrative with a citation. What that does is it saves it into the clipboard. So it's not really downloading, but maybe that's what you mean.
I haven't been saving it to a clipboard. I've just gone back right real fast right in it.
Yeah, but that's what it does. Like you just say build, and then you go back to say here, you go edit, and I want to put this source in.
Yeah.
So go here, and I just do on my Apple, I do Command V.
Yep. Yeah, I've done that.
So that's basically copying it to the clipboard and then putting it back in from the clipboard. But I don't know why people would be correcting things because I haven't heard of anything where Source is generating things that generate suggestions or anything. So
you don't know what everybody puts into their profiles. Because many of us are very, very amateur, and so we are making mistakes. And that's why I want to have an easy ABCD to do, because I have people in one of the DNA groups I'm in who are thinking about doing WikiTree. So you want to make it simple for them. And WikiTree is not simple.
Right.
It has great possibilities and stuff, but it's not simple. And so I want it to be simple for them, and it has to be simple for me first. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Have you seen the video about Sourcer? The kind of brief introduction to WikiTree Sourcer? Might be
I
a
don't
good
know
thing.
if I might have, but I don't remember. So
This is the main WikiTree Sourcer page I'm showing now, and there's this just here. There's a link to the video on YouTube, which is like I think it's 30-minute kind of video. It's the one that comes up like this. Hi, this is Rob Pavey. And it's, I guess, about 20
so I
minutes.
could just go to YouTube as well and find it.
Yeah,
Probably,
it's excellent. Exactly.
Yes, I probably need to watch it a million times and then I might have it. So we'll
Okay,
see.
what you could nice is that you could stop it and then do it and then stop it and then,
Yes.
just, yeah.
That's what I need, Anne. So I will.
Yeah. Amanda has a question inside the chat.
Okay, I'm just looking at it now. This is Rob. So you have to create the profile and save it and then find the source again, because so you're creating new profiles and you want to have multiple sources. So you have to create the profile, find the source again. I'm not exactly sure I'm following the question. Could you explain in more detail?
Look up a set of sources.
Are you referring to me?
Amanda.
Amanda.
Oh, demand. Okay, good.
So I don't quite understand the part about find the source again, because I would have thought you just have that source open in a different tab or something, but and then Sourcer won't generate the source from the original search. I don't really know what that means either.
So I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question, Amanda, but I do have it open in a different screen. Okay. Sounds to me like the way I interpret your question, and I could be totally wrong, is if I'm working on a new profile, I found a birth record, maybe a marriage and a death. So 3 different sources. If I do that and I want to consolidate them before I create the WikiTree profile, I might create a temporary Ancestry person and attach the sources that way, and then use Sourcer to grab them all to put in.
You can do it that way, and
Yeah.
at one point I used to work that way, but I've been doing a one-place study where I'm basically going through the 1881 census for a place, and I'm creating a person for everyone in the census, and all their sources, like 20 sources per person, and I'm not creating them in Ancestry, and I have a routine down pretty fast, where basically you just create the person from one source, and then you just open them again, and then just go through the other sources and add all the other sources. So I'm not quite understanding the question, because if you have it, well, like if you've created the person from a source, maybe you're not using the option to include a citation when you create them, because you say you're trying to go back to the source again. But if you've created it from that source and you have all the options set the way I do, there's no reason to go back to that source again, because it automatically puts in the citation. So so that might be part of the issue, is like in add merge, these options here. So it depends where you're creating the profile from.
Okay, she's added something. When I go to the original source page and go into Sourcer to create the source, then it says as many records do not come up onto the list of sources. Sorry, no audio.
Sorry.
Denise,
do you have, can you share the link to profile or Tasmania record so we could see what you mean?
Are you asking Amanda to do that? Because I can't.
Yeah, I'm asking Amanda.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you have a clarifying comment about Amanda's question?
I think I might. You know, when you go into the sourcer, say for example, if you're on an Ancestry profile and you click on Sourcer, um, then you have the option to build the person data. And when you build that person data and then create the profile, it's not bringing the sources with it. You have to go back to that Ancestry profile and then pick up those sources separately.
Well, you don't have to if you set the options the way I set them. So that would be if you go under build all citations, Ancestry, or maybe it's add merge Ancestry, add
So like
person.
add person. Yeah.
Yeah, automatically do build all citations during save person data.
I'll
So if you
have to check and see if my sourcer is selected to do that because I've had to, I do the save the person data and
yeah,
I actually have to type in the name sometimes because it won't even add that. It's
right.
off and on, but then I'd have to go back and build my citation list. So I'll have to go back and check and see if I have that setting.
So just as an example, so here's a person.
Mm-hmm.
I do save person data.
Uh-huh.
So it's gone and
Yeah.
okay. It's like, and sometimes you get these 429 errors from Ancestry, which is too
Uh-huh.
many requests because Ancestry is trying to stop people from going through and scraping data from their stuff. So they'll respond and say too much data. So what you can do is just tell it to carry on. It'll go and get as much data as it can. Which is it's going and like getting all the details for all the things. And then just in case it missed anything, you can do save person data again. It's getting that again. It's one particular thing that doesn't seem to be working.
Oh, there we go.
But anyway, it gathered a whole bunch of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
now you go to a person, and this is a totally unrelated person, but well, let's just, I could either add someone there, but it's easier to just say add a new person and then set fields. So it's going to do some checks if there's a missing country name, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's filled in, it should fill in all the information that was available in the profile, like first name, blah, blah, blah. And then it's found a exact match because this person's already in WikiTree. But
Right, yes.
But if you go here, you can see it's put in to the bio, it's put in the different sources with narratives and things like that.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and check and make sure I've got those check boxes selected. I just got a new laptop, so it may have lost something in the translation.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably, yeah. There are a lot of options in the source now because I keep adding them, which have a steep learning curve, I guess.
I think the last on mine one of those flags must have turned off because I ended up having the same issue that it was creating a profile, but it wasn't. It saw that there were sources, but it wasn't creating the citations for them. So, but I think it may have been a case of I had cleared the cache and probably unchecked that option by mistake or something.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Miss Amanda posted some more info. She posted a link. Let me try going to that.
Right.
She's trying to use the original sources in Australia's records and not Ancestry. So Sourcer may not be picking those up.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe this is it because this isn't one of the databases that's currently in?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's because its ancestry is Australia and ancestry is US. There was a big difference.
I think that, well, we're not talking about Ancestry here. This is actually Libraries Tasmania. It's supported by Sourcer, but it may be that there's a strange link thing going on. So here, as Amanda's saying, it's
Mm-hmm.
saying recognized, but that's because it came here through a weird link. Because normally if you're on TAS, there's this link TAS, ENTS, is there that all that stuff. Whereas normally if you go to Libraries Tasmania, you should have this URL. So it seems like the original link that Amanda's using to get to a source record is a weird link. Whereas if you actually searched like for this person, Sophia Barbie, there's also another. There's a permalink here. So this is the official link.
Oh, so if you visit that link,
So one way to get to it is just paste that in here.
yeah.
Oh, and see now that's gone to that weird
It's
address.
gone to that too.
Oh, but now it's
Oh, but
working. So
that's an option.
there's
Huh.
some difference between that and so the one that this is the link that
Did it let you do it?
no, I thought I'd pasted this. Let me try again. But just trying to paste the
The permalink.
chat. So this is the one that didn't work. Was going here and then here.
Right.
So this isn't working, but this one is working.
Citation, yeah.
Oh, I mean, this is a pop-up with on front of another page. So another way of looking at it is
Can you right click on that permalink to open in a new tab to avoid having to do the copy and paste thing?
not really because it's not a link, it's just a piece of text.
And does visit open a new tab or does it replace the existing one? I wonder.
It doesn't do either. It's just a piece of text. You can copy it to your clipboard. There is visit.
Visit button. Yeah.
Visit. So I can, yeah, even if I hold down
Control, Command.
But then, yeah, it works. So that's one workaround, Amanda, is that. But I'm a little confused to how you're getting to that page in the first place. Because if we went here and we said family history, birth, deaths, and marriages, and births.
There was death that one was.
I don't like this website. There's some way of searching births, deaths, and marriages, but they have it very well hidden. Like, I just want to search. Yeah, search. But that's just searching the whole library. I want to search births, deaths, and marriages. I haven't looked at this site for a long time, but the other way of doing it is you can just go to a website. So Sourcer will search this site for you.
Oh, wow. It's in that other one.
It's Libraries Tasmania. Names index. I guess this one. So now, see, this looks different. This URL here is not the same as the one. So this says libraries tas.ent, whereas the one that Amanda shared said linctas.ent.
Right.
So if we go here, like this looks like that.
Yes, it was linked to us.
It worked fine. So there's something weird. I don't know where you got that link from, Amanda, with the link tas, but Sourcer doesn't work with linktas.ent, I guess. Or there's something about that. So I can investigate that, but I'm wondering how you got that link in the first place.
She's saying it might be her quick link.
So you can go to the site with just 2 or 3 letters.
So that may be an old URL for the Libraries Tasmania that's been replaced with a new one. Because it seems like if you just go there from the home page, you get a different link.
Okay. Well, at least we solved the problem, I think.
I think so.
That's good. Always nice when we can solve a problem.
So yeah, so from here you can build a citation.
Denise, did you have another question, or were you just putting your hand down from the previous one?
I was just lowering my hand from the last one.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we've gone over as usual. So we should probably wrap up unless there's any burning questions. Any other questions anyone has? If not, I guess we'll be back in a month's time, and that'll be around the end of Hacktoberfest. And we might have
Hacktoberfest. Yeah, I had a question of whether we are going to be teched out by the end of Hacktoberfest, or should we still do this anyways?
Oh yeah, you were talking about that. Maybe we should we'll not do one at the end of October because we'll have all the Hacktoberfest videos and maybe wait. And then do one the end of November, and by that time all the Hacktoberfest work should hopefully be released.
That's what I was wondering. We also have the WikiTree week, which will have workshops and stuff, and there'll be at least one tech panel during that as well. That's the beginning of November. So
okay.
Seems to me that where our tech needs are probably going to be pretty well satisfied for the end of October. So if there's no objections, I move that we skip a month during Hacktober.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll be doing the next tech talk at the end of November.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay.
So moved. Oh, I'm glad you like the tech talk, Sam. I think we all do.
Okay, so signing off then. Thanks for attending, everyone.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, everyone.